Hi, I'm Josh from the indie rock band Metals in the Chute, and welcome to Guitar Lessons for Noobs. Today we are doing lesson 1, which is just simply get a guitar. Very important step. So first, a bit of background info. There are two main types of guitars, acoustic and electric, which is what I've got here. So first, the acoustic. To me, the acoustic has more of an earthy or wooden sort of flavor to its sound. And the main advantage is that just out of the box, you have everything you need with the acoustic guitar. You don't need a cord, you don't need an amplifier, you just need that acoustic guitar. And that's because this body of it is hollow and fairly large compared to how thin an electric guitar is. So that when you play the strings inside that hollow body, it reverberates naturally. On the other hand, there are electric guitars, which is what I play most of the time, and I think they're pretty fun, but a drawback is that if you get an electric guitar, you absolutely will have to buy a cord and an amplifier. So the type of cord that you would need, it's going to look like this on both ends. This is larger than a typical headphone jack. So this is called a 1/4 inch male to male. It's going to look like this on both ends of the cord. That would be the type of cord you need. And an amp, you can get any old amp really, especially if you're a beginner. I had this 30-watt crate amp for like 15 or 16 years, and it's just now starting to give out on me. And it was really fun. It had a couple of effects built into it, but since it died, I just got this in the past week. It's a 10-watt Marshall amp. So 10 is just about as small as they come, but for practicing in a bedroom-sized room, it's got plenty of power for that. I wouldn't want to play a show with it, but it's fine for a beginner playing at home. So acoustic guitars are really good if you want to play country music or folk or soft rock. I'm going to play the same 4 chords a few different times on different settings so you guys can hear the difference. This is what it would sound like on the acoustic, not plugged in. Now this acoustic that I have is an acoustic electric guitar. So it's absolutely an acoustic guitar, but it can also be plugged in through an amp to amplify the sound. Like if you're going to play a show with lots of people, you want everybody to hear at the back. So in this case, you need the exact same type of cord we already discussed. And with this model, it gets plugged in directly to the bottom where the guitar strap would go. And then this is what those same 4 chords would sound like through that amp, and the amp is on a clean channel, so with no distortion. And I say no distortion, but it actually sounds a little distorted because my battery's dying or the connection is fraying out just a bit. And the electric guitar is great for rock and all of those subgenres like punk and alternative and metal. So these are those same 4 chords through the clean channel on the amp with an electric guitar. Now, but the fun part of the electric guitar is playing with all the different effects. So I'm going to put it over to the distortion channel. I've got my gain cranked up to 7 or 8. And the overdrive volume at about 5, so we're going to play those same 4 chords with that setting. But you should get whatever type of guitar is going to suit your musical interests and your favorite genres, for sure. It should be about you. So let's talk about the first method for getting a guitar. Method 1. Borrow a guitar. So method 1, borrow a guitar. This is for sure the best method for absolute beginners because we don't know if this is about to be your new lifelong passion or something that you're going to be over 3 weeks from now. So maybe it's best to hold off on making a major purchase. So when I was 12 years old, my dad started teaching me guitar, and I just played his acoustic guitar, and we just shared that, and that was fine for me, and maybe that'll work for you. So check with your family or friends. See if anybody is a guitarist who's sort of a collector / hoarder maybe. A lot of guitarists get way too many guitars, and maybe they'd be more than happy to let one go for a month or 2 while you figure out if it's for you. But if that won't work for you, then let's talk about method 2. Method 2. buy a cheap used guitar. So again, we're trying to save you money, so don't worry about the quality, don't worry about the brand when you're going with this method. Just get a guitar in your hand so we can start practicing and rocking out. So maybe you could check Facebook Marketplace, maybe you could just ask around if anybody's got one for sale. You might see something on eBay, lots of different methods to try. So, but when you're buying the used instrument, we do need to make sure that it works. And since you don't yet know how to play guitar, I would ask the seller, who probably knew how to play guitar, to just play a few chords on it. And if it's an acoustic guitar and they play a few chords on it and it sounds remotely like music, then that's fine, you can get it. If it's an electric guitar, we need to make sure that the internal electrical components still work. So I would ask them to plug it into an amplifier and play a few chords before you buy it. But if you're not interested in method 1 or method 2, let's move right on to method 3, which would be buy a cheap new guitar. So maybe your best option for this would be a big box store like Walmart or even Amazon, but you could also try some specialty music shops online such as musiciansfriend.com or guitarcenter.com. And then you just go to the style of guitar which you prefer, either acoustic or electric, and then you can sort by price from lowest to highest and see if we can find some that'll work for you. Now if method 3 isn't your style, then let's move on to our last choice, which is method 4, buy a nice new guitar. Now again, if you're a proper noob, I wouldn't recommend this method unless you're well off financially or pretty positive that this is going to be something long-term for you, because this will cost a bit more. But if you want to, here's my advice. Try to go to a proper music store, maybe something locally in your town, or maybe there's a Guitar Center franchise nearby that you could go to, and they could help you out. You could look around and see what you like, or if not, we could go online and find some options. If we're shopping online, I would recommend musiciansfriend.com or guitarcenter.com. For acoustic guitars, the top shelf brands are Taylor and Martin, and some other good brands are Alvarez, Ibanez, Takamine. I have a Takamine, that's what I was showing you earlier. Also Ovation, Gibson, Fender, and Yamaha. I learned on my dad's Yamaha. For electric guitars, the top shelf brands are Gibson and Fender. Some other good brands are PRS, those ones are really pretty, Jackson, which looks exactly like a guitar for a metal or a hardcore player, and Ibanez. Some other things to keep in mind, Gibson has a subsidy called Epiphone that is basically just making Gibson guitars overseas in Korea instead of in the US. So they look the same, but they're a lot cheaper. And that's what I have. That's the electric guitar I was showing you. Mine is an Epiphone Les Paul Custom. Fender has the same type of idea with its Squire sub-brand. A few super popular models to look at and consider are the Gibson or Epiphone Les Paul, the Gibson or Epiphone SG, and the Fender or Squire Telecaster, and the Fender or Squire Stratocaster. So you have a lot of options, but don't let that paralyze you. Just get a guitar. Find one that will fit your favorite genre, find one that will fit your budget, but just make sure you get a guitar. So when you do get that guitar, make sure you come on back for episode 2, where we'll talk about how to properly hold a guitar so we can get you set up for success and good posture and get you rockin'. Thank you so much for coming by. This new series is an experiment for me, and I hope that somebody out there finds value in it. I hope this was helpful to you. If y'all have any questions, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But I hope you all enjoy the shopping process, and I hope you definitely find a guitar that works for you. Sometimes I feel everything. Sometimes I feel everything.